This is me, a pretty avid human tower defense simulator player, but honestly this game can be pretty challenging. Special game modes like Polluted Wastelands or Badlands can be really difficult to win, with their insanely strong zombies. But what if there was an easier way? What if I could get someone else to strategize for me? I decided to use artificial intelligence to give me high level loadouts and game plans, which hopefully would allow me to earn a win on one of the game's hardest maps. But firstly, I had to try to do a warm up solo game. Now I can pretty much beat multi mode like every time I try, so I had to find out if the AI was at least on par with my competency. I needed some towers, and as a level 200 player I had a lot of options, but the AI decided the best choice was engineer, nice, soldier, medic, sniper, and scout. On the surface this looked terrible, but the AI had also supplied me with direct instructions for waves 1 to 40, so if I just followed the game plan, maybe this could actually work. I started by placing engineer, and then as the strategy suggested, I accompanied it with soldier and medic, upgrading each a few levels and allowing a pretty easy early game. By wave 11, the AI now wanted me to place snipers, which is rarely a good idea, but the tower at least had some high range. I continued upgrading towers and placing more of everything, until I placed scout. Multiple scouts actually. Personally, I thought this was a pretty bad idea, but the AI insisted I use it for the mid game. Surprisingly, it seemed to work. As I neared the end of the game, I placed more engineers, along with a few of the other towers like soldier, including these two, which barely saved the run from a speedy boss. Yet, to my surprise, I had reached the final wave. The AI had suggested I use any bonus abilities I had, so I was prepared for the Molten Boss's stunning ability with Medic's healing, and surprisingly, the computer's plan seemed to work. Although this boss was far less formidable than some others, I was still, after a bit of back and forth, able to win. But now I wanted to try something much harder. Badlands 2. One of TDS's special modes. 3 paths, more health every wave, 6 lethal modifiers. This was not going to be as easy as a matter as simply spamming engineers, and I knew the AI would have to step up majorly. So I gave the prompt, got my new set of towers in return, and joined the game. The AI's instructions were more general this time, but it was still clear about a few things. It wanted me to place the first tower I had, which was Shotgunner. A pretty questionable choice for this map, but I placed 2 of them and upgraded them as the guide suggested. One element the computer hadn't accounted for was my teammate, as Cody placed an archer, assisting my towers and barely letting us survive. We were actually doing very badly at this point, but still he and my other teammates were vital as I saved for Mortar, the second tower the AI had wanted me to bring. I felt like the tri-lane layout of this map paired pretty well with this tower's explosions, and I placed the singular unit the strategy recommended at the middle of the path. Still, it wasn't very effective against the shadows. By wave 13, we only had a few capable towers and ended up leaking some of these zombies. Itself, that's not so bad, except for the one little catch that they left our base with 5 health. Yeah, this run is going very badly. As I turned to the AI for help, my teammates Major and Papul placed some more high-end towers, which just barely let us scrape by the next waves. Meanwhile, I got enough money for the next part of the strategy, Rocketeer. For some reason, the AI actually really liked the explosive towers, they came up a lot, and it wanted me to place one and upgrade it to level 2, which was good timing, as the splash damage was actually very helpful for the breakers. Yet it wasn't quite enough. With the zombies running into our base, we survived by this, the Ninfa margin. I don't know what or how or why. At this point, my nerves were fried, and I was quickly losing faith in the computer. Still, to be fair, we hadn't lost yet, so all I could do was push on. I placed Toxic Gunner, the 4th tower in my AI loadout. I wasn't too adverse to this. I thought Sledger or even Electro would have been better, but still. A debuffing tower was actually something our team was lacking. I followed its advice, upgrading it after the other explosive towers. We were still struggling though, and it was time for my last resort. The main DPS of the team, the last tower slot. Nope, it was just DJ, which sounds good, literally, except we kind of already had one, which covered everything in range. All I could do with mine was place it by my teammates' farms for a slight discount, and despair of the AI's tactics, which led our team to a constant struggle throughout the waves leading up to 30. Yet Cody, Major, and Papul all had actual loadouts, and their DPS towers helped us overcome the tanks. I initially focused on mortars as the strategy suggested, and then started to fully upgrade Rocketeers. This is where my support themed loadout finally started to pay off. as I could get the expensive upgrades, and the splash damage started to be extremely valuable, breaking down the breakers and clumps of zombies much more optimally than our main DPS could. I hit the placement limit of 4 mortars and then pursued Rocketeer's limit of 8, following the AI's advice and placing them near the end of the path to account for the dead zones. From being about to lose in wave 18 to now slowly clawing our way back into the game, it looked like we could reach the final boss. At this point, I had now maxed out all my extra towers, completed the strategy, and it was entirely out of my hands. The gunslinger spawned with 600,000 health, and immediately began down the very short path. His cavalry approached from the side, soaking up damage, probably too much damage. He was nearly at the fork in the path, still with 200,000 health. Honestly, I was kinda happy just to have made it this far, like I thought we were gonna lose way earlier. But he nerfed our tower's range, and I frantically tried to move his shotgunner within range. Yet, as he reached the final leg of the path, somehow, we took him down. With me having an AI generated loadout and game plan, against all odds, somehow, the AI actually prevailed. To make such bold choices as to bring no eco and no main DPS either, and somehow have it work out perfectly, it means the only conclusion I can draw is, the AI is just lucky, dude.